Greetings and good day. This is Christopher Fries here with Fries Forge. Now I am currently still recovering from my recent surgery, but I wanted to see if I was at all able to do some light forging. So with that in mind, I decided that I would make a hook out of what I suspected to be a softer steel. Now this is mystery steel, but I was correct in my assumption that the steel itself would be soft when heated. Because it really was. It moved far more than I expected it to, in fact, which was interesting. I wanted to start off using my little Nordic forge hammer just to see how swinging a hammer was going to go for me, and it was going well enough. I wasn't having any troubles, so in order to planish and make these facets look nice and smooth, we're using the 3.5-pound rounding hammer. Keeping with our hexagonal motif, we try to put on, well, this was intended to be a 7-cleft head on the end of this hexagonal bolt. The 7th one comes from the little bit in the center. Unfortunately, my blows were not true, and this steel was unforgiving in the fact that it was moving so rapidly. In this heat, we're looking to do much the same, trying to clean up those facets and make them look much nicer. Unfortunately, it just does not pan out for me at all. I don't know why, but at this point I'm still trying to save this thing. We're trying to re-hexagon it back up, maybe to attempt to try to bring this back into where I want it to be and where I'm envisioning, what I'm envisioning for it, but this just ends up making me angry. So we just cut it off and start again with something else. I could have cut all of that previous footage out and just started the video from here, but I think I should never waste a good mistake, and if you can learn something from what I just messed up, then that's great. Then the mistake is not wasted. Using now the far edge of the anvil, forging half on, half off, trying to reduce the diameter of this stock here down to what I think will be a more appropriate size for this hook. And that's what we're trying to make here, is we're trying to set up the material for the hook that will hold up the potted plant. Now that the stock is at a diameter of which I am pleased with, we can begin with breaking the corners and setting it up to be rounded out. I've made a small mistake here. I've attempted to go straight to round far too quickly. What I should have done is I should have broken the corners a little bit more and then moved along each of those facets in order to create more angles and more angles and more angles until the point where I can then move in and round the stock up. It makes a much cleaner looking bit of metal, and this will look less clean as a result. Now that I've gone to all that effort of making the end round, I realize kind of what I've done and decided that I want to draw this out further in order to make a little scroll. So that's exactly what we're doing. We're drawing it out to a point, and this is going to be for what will end up being a scroll. Making little scrolls is probably one of my favorite things to do in blacksmithing. It's so very delicate and so very easy to mess up and make horribly, but when they turn out well, they look very nice. This one turned out okay. You might notice that the little end of where the scroll is darker. That's because I've quenched it in water in order to protect it so that I can create this hook without upsetting and deforming that scroll. You can notice I've done the same thing here as well so that I can help create that hook without damaging the scroll that I've just worked so hard to make. Now I'm using my horn as a mandrel here, which is a very common practice, but I actually have a hardy tool that I've made that is perfectly round that would have suited this task much better. Oh well. We're ready to give this bar a little bit of flavor, but first we need to clean up this little transitional area and make sure that that looks round and that looks nice. And once we've got that, we can begin to create these deep fullers in the metal. Instead of planishing them out, we leave them for an interesting effect. I was hoping that the camera would pick up these colors a little bit better. Unfortunately, the contrast was set a little too high or something like that, but this is a close-up of how we get those fullers in there. A quick way to lose weight is to go on an all-liquid diet. I lost about 20 pounds in a week. It's drastic, that's for sure. This is the heaviest forging that I do in the making of this, and it's here that I really kind of begin to feel the stuff going on inside of me, and I kind of slow things back a little bit. This was pushing it. An odd feeling having your organs pull in ways that you never knew that they would. You don't have any nerve endings, but you can certainly feel things moving around inside. It's not comfortable, and I definitely lightened my forging after I started feeling that. This is going to be the base of the hook that will attach to the wall. I need to be cautious that I do not forge it too thinly, however. I want to use a ball fuller in order to push the metal in and around and out and kind of make it look a little more interesting. And if I go too thin, I won't have enough material to do that. This little ball fuller that I'm using here is a punch that I have made out of 5160 from a car spring. It works quite well. Though I think I want to make some of varying sizes, because though I am happy with how these turned out, I would also like to be able to make them bigger if I want to. This new super slow motion feature on my Galaxy S9 actually works pretty well, but note to self, I need more light. I thought I had picked the perfect point to put this bend in. I misjudged. You can see here, I definitely need to put it at a different spot. I've put that bend in at exactly where I put my little ball fuller in. There we go, all better now. Hot brushing with a butcher block brush is a great way to clean up any errant strikes or just generally make your forgings look a lot cleaner. Painting on some boiled linseed oil applies a black finish. This acts as a bit of an oxygen barrier and helps prevent rust. Thank you everyone for the reminders to use my post-vise clamp on the Heretics Fork video. Works very well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you very much for watching. May the Force serve you well.